In recent years, we've seen an increase in wildland-urban interface fires here on the Front Range. The North Metro Fire Rescue District, the City and County of Broomfield, and Broomfield PD have partnered together to bring you tips on how you can keep your residents and yourself safe in the event of a wildland-urban interface fire. So there's three components of a wildland or wildland-urban interface fire. Those three components are topography, fuels, and weather. Topography, obviously the lay of the land, the slope, that directly affects rate of spread for a fire and the intensity of a fire. If a fire's running uphill, it's going to be a lot quicker, a lot hotter than if it's backing down a slope, or even if it's on a pretty level grade like we have behind us. Those fires will just kind of creep along. The second component in a wildland-urban interface fire is the fuels. And if you look behind me, this is fuel model 1. It's a lot of prairie grasses. That's really the fuel model that we run into up here. The third component, which is the most unpredictable component, is the weather. And if you have any type of wind in an urban interface event, it's going to make that much more difficult to deal with. You saw that in the Marshall Fire. If that fire would have started a day earlier where the winds were much more subtle, that fire would not have done the kind of damage that it ended up doing. Now that we've talked about the three components of a wildland-urban interface fire, let's talk about some mitigation techniques that as a homeowner you can implement to hopefully make your home a little safer if one of these events occurs. The immediate zone is that 5-foot zone away from your house, which is the most important zone that you're going to maintain. Making sure that you don't have any leaf litter in your gutters, making sure that you don't have any trash or leaf litter in your window wells. You make sure that your vents are screened off so we can't get embers inside there. You're going to make sure we don't have any dead shrubs around the residence. And really what we want to do is, as much as possible, use non-combustible material, rock, granite, crusher fine, things that aren't going to readily burn. A lot of homeowners like the beauty of mulch and bark, and they put that next to their foundation, but that causes problems. That will readily burn, it gets next to your siding, and it can ignite your house from there. So when we talk about that, the home ignition zones and that zone 1 being 5 feet from the foundation, really if you look at this home, they've done a really good job. They got non-combustible materials used to landscape it. The window wells are really clean. We have screens on most of the vents. This is a perfect example of what we want to see in zone 1. Okay, so as we come around this structure for that initial zone 1, the 5 feet from the foundation again, you know, we see they got rock here, which is a good non-combustible landscape material, but we got a lot of down, dead, prairie grass in here, and it would only take an ember to start some of this and make its way up behind the siding to start this whole house on fire. And these are the things as a homeowner that we want you to mitigate. You know, it's not going to take very long. Move that stuff away from the foundation so you don't have that problem in the future. And then we start looking at trees around the residence, and we want to trim those trees up so that we don't have ladder fuels that start on the ground that run to a tree that could cause your home to burn. The second portion of that is you start looking at the outside of your house. What's it made of? Is it wood siding? Is it stone? Is it a combustible material, or is it fire resistant? So another step in protecting your home is evaluating your deck. What kind of material is it made of? Is it made of a combustible wood, or is it the new Trex decking, which are, you know, a lot of them are now fire resistant. As you start looking at your deck, do we have a lot of combustible stored under there? Firewood, we see that a lot. It's a fuel that will readily burn, will start your deck on fire and it'll burn your house down. If you look at your fencing, it's one of those fuels that it runs along the open space, it comes up the side of your house, and it ties into your house. Not just the Marshall Fire, but every other fire that you see is fences catch fire, they run up your property line, they tie into your house, and it's just another way to lose your structure. If your fence has been freshly stained and it's been maintained, it'll take a lot longer for it to ignite. If you look in this neighborhood here, they have the metal fences that run up to the houses. So while all HOAs don't allow that, it's certainly a lot safer technique in terms of a wildland urban interface event than having wood fencing going and tying into your home. Another mitigation technique is to keep your landscape healthy. Make sure your grass is watered and green. The reality is green grass doesn't burn, healthy trees don't burn, healthy bushes don't burn. At the end of the day, if one of these wildland urban interface fire events happens in your area, really the most important message from the fire department's always going to be, if you feel threatened or you don't feel safe in your home, you need to get out. There's no reason to stick around and see what happens. If you can get out safely, we recommend getting out. There's a lot of things the fire department can do, but if we're facing everybody leaving at the same time and we're trying to make it into a residence, that really is going to impact our ability to do our job.